So today on the pod, we're going to be talking about the seller's situation versus the true market value of the home. And we can see how these can cross lines and get very blurry, if you like, as to the true value. When we're appraising a home, you can get sucked into a bit of the emotional side of things, or from another side of things, the seller's perceived value. Perfect example of that is a speculator, someone who builds and sells homes. Now, let's talk about that for a minute, because I know it's a passion of yours, possibly mine, and how that has changed over the past 2 to 3 years.
Yep. So at the end of the day, the buyer's looking at purchasing a property. Like, generally speaking, that we're all selfish and we want to take care of our own needs, and they're going to offer an amount that gives value to them, and we'll obviously squeeze the lemon at the end of that. They're not often taking into consideration your situation. So say you've spent $950,000 for land and to build a property, a new home, and you want to sell it straight away.
Yeah.
So it's cost you $950,000, but unfortunately the market's come back in value, and it's only worth $900. The buyer is not just going to pay you another $50,000 just because they feel sorry that you've bought it and built at the wrong time.
No.
Unfortunately, they're going to pay what they see value in. So say you've bought a piece of land for $450, and then it's cost you $500 for the build. That's $950, and now the house is only worth $850 or $900. Unfortunately, we have to give you the hard truths that is the situation that you're in.
Yep.
And then it's over to the vendor to make a decision on whether they're going to rent that home out and wait it out, or they're going to take the loss.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of that at the moment, more probably down in the Berryfield area with speculators who, have had it pretty good for the previous, 3 years before, going up to the peak. In that peak time, those speculators down in that location were making anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 per transaction, if you like.
Yep.
And then they've been stung by having to buy the next lot of sections in peak market, then been probably titles delayed slightly from developer. Then from that side of things, the market is reduced in value, and at the same time, the build costs have gone up.
Interest rates have gone up.
And holding costs have gone up, all those things. So we're now seeing those guys who were making, $100,000, $200,000 on a build to trying to break even. And the majority of them are actually breaking even to losing money on those speculative builds.
Yep.
So just because of their situation doesn't mean their property is worth more. It's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. And another thing we see often is situations where, people going through separations, divorces, etc., and they need, in their mind, top dollar for their home because it's going to get split in two.
Well, basically what they've worked out is, look, if I want to buy another home on my own, I need this much money.
Yep.
And so do they. So now our house needs to sell for $1 million instead of what it's worth of $850,
Yep.
and that is what it is. Unfortunately, the market doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And if it's worth $850, it might sell for $850. It might sell for $900 at a push, but you're probably not going to get your $1 million. And we have to be careful of when you're choosing an agent, as they're not just going to sit there and say, oh yeah, that's cool, we'll get you that, just to get you signed up. What a waste of time. You need to actually know the facts, because then you might be able to make a decision of, look, hey, we both agree that we'll rent the property for another couple of years until the market comes back, and then at least you're still in the market, and then you can sell at a higher price, and then you're both able to buy. We've got to give you the facts and give you professional advice so you can move on.
Yeah, and that's the key. Honesty.
Yep.
Right? Good sound advice, good evidence to make sound decisions.
Yep.
Don't be persuaded by people's situation to give false sense of value.
Yeah.
It's a hard pill, mostly for the speculators to swallow.
Yeah.
Solely for the reason that they've had it pretty good for quite some time, and it will come back.
It'll come back.
It always comes back.
Yeah.
All right. And they're better, in my view, they're better to cut their losses now, because the problem is that the building cost is probably stabilised now, so that's not going to fluctuate anymore. The problem was they paid too much for the sections.
Yep.
Where they can probably cut their losses now and then go buy another section now at a cheaper price than what they could when they bought that one, and then build and make that money up in the next one, and then go ahead again. So the better to get out, get their money and do it again by buying smarter in this market than buying at the peak when they bought that section. So it's just thinking of the big picture rather than the small picture from a speculator's point of view. And then from the emotional sales, if you like, just got to be honest and upfront with what true value is. Don't get sucked into the I guess the emotional side of things where people are needing in their mind X, Y, Z to allow them to move on.
They might be going to a retirement home and they've got a fixed price and need to pay for that, so therefore they need X amount on their home, and it's just not worth that. Better off saying, look, you can either wait or you need to go into a cheaper retirement home to make it work.
Just look at other options. It's the good old adage, isn't it? Any property is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. So that's the key, is to be honest up front, have sound evidence and understand what your true value of the home is. Don't get sucked into what it might have cost you, and B, what you perceive that you want. It's worth what someone's willing to pay.